Shalom, greetings, peace be upon you, and welcome back to the broadcast. I'm Shawn. Today, we're going to read a story from Exodus chapter 19 and 20 because we are upon the feast of Shavuot. Now, different calendars, depending on which one you follow, have different dates. Some have it starting last night, Sunday, June 1st, going through tonight. If you go to a Root Awakening, which is typically where I go for the calendar, it has it starting June 7th. This coming weekend, the Christian Church will celebrate Pentecost. So we're in the season. And so this is the week to do the readings regardless. Today we're going to read chapter 19 and 20. Let me start. We've done the Shavuot study a dozen times, and I could have very easily just re-uploaded one of many studies that I've done already, but I kind of wanted it fresh in my heart and in my mind and in my spirit, which is why instead of uploading maybe some of the better ones that I've done, I wanted to start fresh and just do the process today. And do the readings today and get my heart and my spirit and my mind in the right place, because Shavuot is one of my favorite of all the feast. It's the harvest feast, the great harvest feast. And I want to start, and I started this way last year. Before I get into what is Shavuot, how is it fulfilled, and what does it mean, let me read from the book of the Gospel of Matthew, the parable of the wheat and tares, just to set the stage. Because this is what I think of when I think of the harvest, the great time of harvest. Here's what it says, Matthew 13, chapter 24 through 30. Another parable he put forth to them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. Please note, almost all of Jesus' parables, he starts this way. Here's a short story, a short demonstration, an analogy, so that you understand what the kingdom of heaven is like. Here's how it works. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and he went his way. But when the grain had sprouted and produced a crop, then the tares also appeared. So the servants of the owner came and said to him, Sir, did you not sow good seed in your field? How then does it have tares? And he said to them, An enemy has done this. And the servants said to him, Do you want us then to go and gather them up? But he said, No, lest while you gather up tares, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, First gather the tares and bind them in bundles and burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. We often wonder, why doesn't God do something about selected evil group on earth? And the answer is found in this parable. And it is simply that the wheat, representing those who belong to God, and the godless, representing the tares, were mingled together in society, in the world. And so in this parable, the owner of the field says, no, let them grow together, because if you try to pull the tare, you're going to uproot the wheat also. Like there's going to be consequences, severe consequences for the good seed. So we have to let them grow together until the time of the harvest, and then we'll pull them all. And the tares will be thrown into the fire, and the wheat will be gathered into the barn. I love this parable. It's a reminder of why good and evil has to remain together until the end. Shavuot is the season of harvest. In fact, one of the most common things read is the book of Ruth. Lord willing, we're going to do that this week. I also typically read a story from the book found with the Dead Sea Scrolls, known as the Book of Jubilees. I'm hoping to get all that done this week. Pray for me. Pray for me that I'll have the strength and energy. But today we're reading our story, which is typically read, which is from Exodus chapter 19 and 20. It's the giving of the law. It's when the fire comes down. You can see the connections between Shavuot and Pentecost. Let me read. I typically do this as well. I like to go to a site called A Rude Awakening and just kind of read their description of Shavuot. So bear with me real quick. I'm going to read this, and then we'll do Exodus 19 and 20. So what is Shavuot? Shavuot, meaning weeks in Hebrew, also known as Pentecost, meaning 50 in Greek, is an agricultural feast during which we give thanks to the Creator for the tangible blessings of our harvest during the year. So the first thing is focusing on gratefulness, gratitude. I don't know about you guys, but one of probably the worst sin I struggle with in life is contentment. This is a season to be thankful, to be grateful for all that God has done for us and provided for us. Shavuot originated, it's one of the feast of the Lord, which was instituted the day following the full 7 weeks, so the 50 days after Passover, as the Israelites were camped at the foot of Mount Sinai. This was the day that the Almighty shouted His Torah from heaven, accompanied with a spectacular sight of Mount Sinai enveloped with fire. Centuries later, the Messiah's disciples were gathered into Jerusalem to celebrate Shavuot. By the way, this is why there was millions of people potentially there who spoke different languages. So when the tongues of fire came down on the disciples and they began to preach, all of these Jews who spoke different languages, who had to travel, understood what they were saying in their own language. But the reason they were all there is because it's one of the 3 feasts for which you were commanded to travel, to sojourn to Jerusalem. So centuries later, they're celebrating Shavuot, the anniversary of the day of the Israelites received the physical Torah. And then the spiritual aspect of the Torah, the Holy Spirit was poured out. Tongues of fire appeared above the heads of those gathered amidst a rushing mighty wind in Acts 2:2. And this was the undeniable statement from the Almighty that the Torah and the Spirit are one in Yeshua, a living Torah. So what does Shavuot mean? Here's what the website says. As such, Shavuot is a prophetic and spiritual feast that reminds us of the blessings and gifts that come from our relationship with the Almighty. It's a reminder to act boldly, filled with His Spirit to do His will, to be, that is, servants of the kingdom. So with that little introduction, let's do the reading. Exodus chapter 19 and 20, it's very short. It's where the Torah is given on Mount Sinai. My favorite story of the Old Testament. Let's begin. As usual, I'll be reading from the Holy Scriptures. Exodus 19. In the 3rd month after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on this day they came to the wilderness of Sinai. For they departed from Rephidim and had come to the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness. So Yisrael camped there before the mountain. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Jehovah called to him from the mountain, saying, This is what you are to say to the house of Yaakov, that is to say Jacob, and declare to the children of Israel, You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. And now, if you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples. For all the earth is mine. Please note, I just always have to bring this out. It's one of those statements that so many Christians hate. It's the if statement. You'll see it all throughout the writings of the New Testament as well. You'll hear Jesus use the word if, and the apostles use the word if a lot. We try to ignore this word. He says, now, if you diligently obey my voice and guard my covenant, if this, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples. Verse 6, and you shall be to me a reign of Kohanim, that is to say, priest, and a Kodesh nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. And Moshe came and called to the elders of the people, and before them all the words which Jehovah commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Jehovah has spoken we shall do. So Moshe brought back the words of the people to Jehovah. And Jehovah said to Moshe, see, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, so that the people hear when I speak, when you, and believe you forever. And Moshe reported the words of the people to Jehovah. And Jehovah said to Moshe, go to the people, and Kodesh them tomorrow, or today and tomorrow. And they shall wash their garments, and shall be prepared by the third day. For on the third day Jehovah shall come down upon the mountain, Mount Sinai, before their eyes of the people. And you shall make a border for the people all around, saying, take heed to yourself, that you do not go up the mountain, or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned or shot with an arrow, whether man or beast, he shall not live. And when the trumpet sounds long, let them go up to the mountain. And Moshe came down from the mountain, and the people, and Kodesh the people, and they washed their garments. And they said to the people, be prepared by the third day, do not come near a wife. And it came to be on the third day in the morning, that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain, and the sound of the ram's horn was very loud. And all the people who were in the camps trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and he stood at the foot of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was in smoke, all of it, because Jehovah descended upon it in fire, and its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace. And all the mountain trembled exceedingly. And when the blast of the ram's horn sounded long, it became very strong. And Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by voice. And Jehovah came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mountain, and Jehovah called to Moshe at the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. And Jehovah said to Moshe, go down, warn the people, lest they break through unto Jehovah to see, and many of them fall. And let the Kohanim who come near Jehovah Kodesh themselves too, lest Jehovah break out against them. And Moshe said to Jehovah, the people are not able to come up to the Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, make a border around the mountain and Kodesh it. And Jehovah said to him, come, go down, then come up you and Aaron with you. But do not let the Kohanim and the people break through to come up to Jehovah, lest he break out against them. And Moshe went down to the people and spoke to them. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Jehovah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the Shemayim above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Jehovah your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the wickedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing kindness to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of Jehovah your Elohim to naught, for Jehovah does not leave the one unpunished who brings his name to naught. Remember the Sabbath day and Kodesh it. 6 days you labor, and shall do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath of Jehovah, your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughters, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who was within your gates. For in 6 days Jehovah made the Shemayim and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore Jehovah Barak blessed the Sabbath day and kadeshed it. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the land which Jehovah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor. You do not covet your neighbor's house, you do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. And all the people saw the thunders and lightnings and flashes and the sound of the ram's horn, and the mountains smoking, and the people saw it, and they trembled and stood at a distance, and said to Moshe, You speak with us, and we hear, but do not let Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said to the people, Do not fear, for Elohim has come to prove you, in order that his reverence be before you, so that you do not sin. So the people stood at a distance, but Moshe drew near the dense cloud where Elohim was. And Jehovah said to Moshe, Say this to the children of Israel. You yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from the Shemayim. You do not make besides me mighty ones of silver, and you do not make mighty ones of gold for yourself. Make an altar of the earth for me. And you shall slaughter on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings and your sheep and your cattle, in every place where I cause my name to be remembered. And I shall come to you and barak you, bless you. And if you make me an altar of stone, do not build it of cut stone, for if you use your chisel on it, you have profaned it. Nor do you go up by steps to my altar, lest your nakedness be exposed on it. And that, my friends, is Exodus chapter 19 and 20, the giving of the law at Mount Sinai. And that is our first reading for this week as we memorialize the Feast of Shavuot, or Pentecost. I pray you've been blessed this morning. Of course you have been, because you just heard the word of God. You just heard the law given from Mount Sinai. You cannot listen to that story and not be blessed, not be compelled to want to serve God. So thank you for listening. Thank you for praying for me. As I've said recently, I need it more than ever right now, so please continue to pray. For those of you who are willing and able, thank you for supporting this mission of truth and making it possible every week. Lord willing, I'll be back with you with our study in Ruth over the next few days. Peace and grace be with you. And until next time, God bless.